Any of you hobbyists out there do stuff with your kids and balloons and track those balloons? What about being part of the Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade? Because apparently, an Illinois hobbyist club, the Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade, telling the publication Aviation Week that, circumstantial evidence points that it was one of their balloons that was shot down by NORAD February 11th, with fighter jets being deployed to shoot this thing down over the last weekend. That's pretty incredible. It looks like maybe it was just like some hobby balloons or some other kind of junk floating around that the U.S. government was launching, $400,000 plus missiles at after the situation of the week before where you had a Chinese spy balloon that was shot down, only after it completely traversed the entire continental North America. And even I'm pretty sure that I saw it that Friday evening as Megan and I were heading out to dinner. Pretty sure it was, looking at all the different maps there were, it looks like I might have been able to have seen it with my naked eye. And even Megan looking up in the sky and being like, oh, that's there. It's fascinating, the information we get, right? Because at the beginning of the week, news was they shot three other objects over Alaska, over the Yukon, over Lake Huron, and questions about are they UFOs, and the White House taking those questions early in the week. The questions about, well, are they from different countries? But no, now it turns out that it may have been a hobbyist balloon, one of them coming from the state of Illinois. But here's President Joe Biden talking a bit about the ongoing situation with the spy balloons and what we should be making sense of, if anything at all. Again, here's the president talking about how, he's doing his job.
These steps will lead to safer and more secure skies for our air travelers, our military, our scientists, and for people on the ground as well. That's my job as your president, commander-in-chief.
And he's talking about, some changes to policy and radar tweaking and all of this, and how, it's not coming from China, though. But we did have that high-altitude object that China was involved with. But is he going to speak to the Chinese president?
I expect to be speaking with President Xi, and I hope we are going to get to the bottom of this. But I make no apologies for taking down that balloon.
Yes. Well, thank you for that. But what about, all of these other objects that seem to be just floating out of nowhere? 217-629-7970. That's the phone number here with Springfield's Morning News, where you can always chime in live and local. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Yeah, NORAD may add a little more excitement to the Lincoln hot air balloon test.
Oh, no. Listen, these objects were 20,000 plus feet in the sky, 35,000, 40,000 plus feet in the sky. Those balloons for the Lincoln Balloon Fest, they don't go that high, do they?
No, I don't think so.
By the way, if anybody out there wants to give me a ride in one of those balloons, I will take them up on that offer. So you be sure to pass that word around.
I would not get in one of those for all the money in the world.
Why not? That'd be a good time. I mean, hey, come on.
Oh, my gosh.
I appreciate the call. 217-629-7970. Your thoughts. Good morning.
Yeah, I was just wondering why no one's asking that the U.S. has several of these balloons flying over us, and no one ever asked the question of why is the government flying these surveillance balloons over their own country?
Yeah, and we've known about this for years now, that there was, surveillance balloons that the U.S. deployed to be able to track even single vehicles going from a state to a state. So kind of fascinating. And you ask, why doesn't anybody get that question in? They may try to get that question into the White House spokesperson, but, is she really going to answer the question? What about asking the president directly? Well, here's how it goes whenever you try to ask the president a question. Here's a moment from at the tail end of his news conference yesterday where he talked about the relations with China and so on, and here's a little bit of that in reaction. He starts walking off. He hears some question, points to somebody.
There's been criticism that this there's been criticism that this
trying to compromise by your family's business relationships.
Sir, Mr. President, there has
Give
been
me a break,
criticism.
man.
Did you overreact?
Mr. President, there's been criticism that this was an overreaction that was done because of political pressure.
You can come to my office and ask the question when they have more polite people with me.
Mr. President, why have you chosen Poland for your...
So he doesn't want to answer the question. The question that I heard most prominent was, what about the criticism of your family's business dealings with China? And he says, oh, come on, man. So, yeah, people can try to ask questions, but it doesn't mean that the questions are going to be answered, let alone even considered, legitimate questions at all. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Hey, Greg.
Hey.
I haven't heard you talk about this, and I'm sure it would be something that would interest you. So being that it's Friday, I'm calling you about it. Did you hear the case in Alabama about the guy who died in the county jail?
Somebody messaged me earlier about he froze to death. Was that what it was? Because I haven't read the story.
It has got to be, if the facts that I'm reading are correct, this has to be one of the most heinous things I've ever heard of.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I've not seen that story. Appreciate the call, though. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Good morning, Greg. This year's Balloon Festival will be sponsored by Target and Pfizer.
Oh, stop it. Okay. All right. Jokes. Spaghetti. Good morning. You're on WMAY. You can tell it's Friday.
Up and away in my beautiful balloon.
All right. And he's going on. He's continuing on. All right. I was going to also update you on electric vehicles, because why not? We're talking about balloons in the sky. We can also talk about electric vehicles on the roads, and looks like there's some interesting happenings with Ford actually looking to pause the electric F-150 work after there was a fire. This coming from the Associated Press. Ford Motor Company suspending production and halting shipments of the F-150 Lightning electric pickup truck after a battery caught fire during a pre-delivery quality check. Yeah, electric vehicle battery fires, not something to mess around with. And interesting to see that update. Also, another update concerning electric vehicles. Tesla recalling nearly 363,000 vehicles to fix behavior flaws. This is because, of course, you've got full self-driving systems that Tesla is trying to deploy in their electric vehicles. Listen, I know a lot of people out there who are freaked out at the direction of the electric vehicle industry because it's trying to take complete control away from the individual. That's how they see it, and they don't want to be the subject of not having the capabilities to completely control their vehicle. We got a full phone line set here. Got to take them all before we get to a break. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Hey, Greg, I went on a hot air balloon ride when I was younger.
Yep.
Worst thing about it is the champagne. Just pass on the champagne. But I would say go for it.
They give you champagne on the balloon flights. I see. These are things I don't know about. Megan and I enjoy champagne. Maybe we'll enjoy that. Good morning. You're on WMAY.
Greg, I think this year at the Lincoln Hot Air Balloon Festival, I'm going to watch from a distance instead of taking my family up there.
Why?
Because every yokel's going to have their gun out.
Oh, stop it. Oh, get out of here. Stop it. Well, apparently the only people shooting balloons out of the sky are the U.S. military, so...
Absolutely, and God bless him. Thank you for your service. Happy Friday. Hey, this is where I do miss Trump, because he would have just denigrated all the balloons about how we do the best balloons. We've got the biggest balloons. Ours fly higher.
Well, don't forget about that
like
Trump baby balloon, right? I mean, that was another big thing as well. So, hey, I appreciate the calls. It is Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY. Springfield's News and Talk. Hey, coming up.